Could you find a way to let me down slowly? A little sympathy I hope you can show me. If you want to go, then I'll be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby, let me down slowly. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden. Who was that?
That was Alec Benjamin, who is blowing up at the moment. Young buck. I quoted his one of his songs the other week. It was the one where about getting punched in the nose and breaking my nose. Alec Benjamin. Next big thing.
Well,
I'm totally down with like what all the kids are doing. I really am very hip. I'm really onto what's going on in the music scene. I get what millennials get. I get it.
I've never heard a more out of touch statement than that. Speaking of being millennial, I'd just like to start this podcast off by mentioning that you had to undo your too tight hipster pants to allow your fat middle-aged gut more room for the duration of this podcast. Otherwise, you would be too uncomfortable. And you suggested that you should have wore your track pants, your dad track pants.
Yeah.
But you're totally hip and, understand what the millennials are doing and all that other stuff.
Well, I did put my slippers on for the show as well.
But, that those lyrics do kind of bring up a topic that maybe we should talk about.
Yeah, what's that?
Well with she who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Angie.
Yes.
Sorry, I'll do that again. Angie. There it is.
Yeah. Well, she posted a very lovely photo of her and her new man in love in a faraway and exotic place. And she's sort of settled down with this guy now. I guess she's taken this whole breaking up with me thing quite seriously, I suppose.
So I have like my girlfriends like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times removed that I talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Now you've got your girlfriend 2 years removed.
Yeah.
That you talk about on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she was your last one.
Yeah. Well, look, presumably he is her final relationship. She's raising a child with this man. Presumably, being optimistic, the goal here is that this is the last man she will ever sleep with.
I don't think you mentioned that.
No, I haven't. But if you think about it, I was her last relationship before her final relationship.
Yeah.
I was her penis ultimate.
You were you were the final boss.
Yeah.
That she had to get to clock relationships.
Yeah.
So she had to defeat you.
Yeah.
To clock.
To reach Nirvana, relationship Nirvana.
And to reach the end game.
Well done to you, Angie, for clocking the relationship game. I congratulate you.
Level 99.
And shout out Angie.
Hard.
Shout out Angie, who does actually listen. She is still a 5150 listener.
Well, she's got to check in to see where you're emotionally at with the breakup.
Yeah.
After 2 years, so
yeah.
She's like, I'm just following up how Harley's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's still not doing good.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh, he still hasn't gotten over this.
No, he's still got a regular segment where he talks about me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, but I guess it's quite significant because, the biggest significance here is that, isn't that the first official photo that she posted? Like to really drive the knife deep into your heart.
So this was a rare, if not one of the first, like public posts of her openly with him, and doing like lovey-dovey stuff, lovey-dovey hashtags and stuff. I haven't really seen much of that, apart from on his one when I'm stalking through his Insta, to see glimpses of her, and then he's obviously bragging a little bit more. So he's like, oh, mi bonita novia, and I'm like, that's not your girlfriend, that's my girlfriend. What are you doing? Thumbs down for you. But obviously I can't say anything. I wouldn't dare provoke an incident.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get banned from
ban-hammered.
from looking at her stuff.
No.
Because that's all you have now.
That's all I have now.
So
that is all I have
if you
now.
couldn't watch it from afar, I don't know what you do. You really might fall to pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
So that's where we've started things off.
I was thinking, like, you know, speaking of sort of relationships and stuff, it's sort of Bumble files, but buzz on Bumble. You know, like, I realized that the trick with Tinder before you're using it, right? The trick with Tinder is to jerk off first. You know, otherwise it's like going to the supermarket when you're hungry. You know, so that's a little tip. That's a little tip from me to you. You know,
that's good advice. That's pretty smart. I see what you did there.
Yeah, see, because later on you open up the app, and you know, just like you'd open up the cupboard when you got home and realize that perhaps you could have been a little bit more discerning.
It's full of junk food.
It's full of junk food. So you see, jerk off first. Shout out Kieran from Stray, from the movie Stray, famous actor from the movie Stray, Kieran, who commented, now this is in regard to the Game of Thrones episode. Ha ha ha, another hilarious treat. My favourite part was the revelation that Harley has been meticulously studying the breasts of characters from Game of Thrones. How long do you devote to these studies? And why was it important for you to establish which breasts were fake and which were not? I'm imagining you had whole charts and Excel files dedicated to this, and you paned over the intensive study for days on end, shutting off all other engagements and basically being DiCaprio in The Aviator when he shuts himself away in that cinema and becomes a recluse. Yeah. That's good feedback, Kieran. It's good feedback. All of that is reasonably on point, I'd say.
And also, when you're single, that is, you know, you have a lot of time for these types of, to devote yourself to these types of studies.
Now, I'd like to clarify that I'm not talking about fake breasts as in augmented breasts, you know, in reality, physically augmented. I'm talking about they photoshopped somebody else's boobs onto Queen Daenerys' body after she burnt her way out of the Dothraki, you know, tent.
How do you know that?
I mean,
your studies, obviously.
My studies, obviously, guy.
but
how do I know that they photoshopped someone else's boobs?
Well,
because her boobs she had her boobs in the first episode.
This was your spider booby sense tingling. You were watching that scene. You're like, wait, those boobs, spider booby sense tingling. This is not right. Something's wrong. And then you went into your diagrams and your 2-day study. Is that what happened? Or how did you come across this Photoshop boobs information?
Okay, so it was just logical. I just took one thing from another here. So what happened was Queen Daenerys did show her boobs in seasons 1 and possibly 2.
Yes, definitely 2.
Right, yeah.
And if you
but
we don't have those episodes to memory. Harley hasn't committed those to memory, unfortunately.
No.
Sadly.
And then so after that, though, I heard that she got something written into her contract that she wasn't going to show her boobs anymore. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. She's big now. She doesn't need to be doing that, right? By season 3 or whatever, you know, if she doesn't want to, if she doesn't feel comfortable, fair enough. But then in season 4 or something like that, there's the scene where she burns her way out of the Dothraki hut after, you know, and sort of becomes the queen of the Dothraki. Yeah. And in that, she's showing her boobs because all her clothes get burnt off.
Yes.
And I was like, well, hang on a fucking second here. Something don't add up. So this booby equation don't add up. I was like, she doesn't show her boobs anymore. I read about it. So, and yet here she is with her boobs. So I Googled it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that that's kind of where the story stutters out because I can't really remember exactly what I found, but I feel like I was like, yeah, cool. So it was like a computer job.
You ran a 3D analysis on the boobs. You triangulated the boob equation down to a point to see that the boobs were mismatching.
Yeah, well, see, you know, the reason why I was thinking about boobs and digital boobs and enhancing boobs and all that stuff as well is because at the time, our friend Rhiannon Johannick had been in a film called All Cheerleaders Die. I'm pretty sure that was the one.
Yep.
I know she was definitely in that.
Yep.
She was in our film, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and did a great job. And now she lives in LA and was in another movie called All Cheerleaders Die. And I'm not 100% sure if it was that project that did it or not, but she had something in her contract written that she could not show off. She didn't want to show off her boobs. And then so what they did was they filmed it, but then they put fake nipples on her. So they basically they deep faked her. They make it look like it was her boobs anyway, you know? Like, so they weren't actually her boobs, but it was there was darker nipples.
What I heard about though, I thought that it was just a cutaway of someone else's boobs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See,
so they didn't put boobs on her.
Ah,
they literally
just cut away to
a body boob
stunt boobs.
Stunt boobies, boob double.
Ah,
and then it like cuts to her,
so she was unhappy with the way it was cut.
Well, this is the story that she said so she didn't do it. Yeah, it was in her contract that she wasn't doing it. I believe in the scene, it's like her taking off her bra, right?
Yeah.
And but you wouldn't see anything. But what they did in the film is they then cut to the front with someone
else's boobs,
and then it looks like she's just getting her boobs out.
Well, that would be a much easier and cheaper way of doing it.
But in reality, it wasn't her boobs. It was a booby trap. It was a setup.
That's dad joke number one right there. It's fucking dad joke number one. Literally booby trap.
It was a boob sting set up and to play us all thinking it was and her because so when she saw that she was like, what the fuck, you've implied my boobs.
Yeah,
there's boob implication here.
Right, okay, well that makes way more sense. But I misunderstood that, and I thought it was digital nipples put over her nipples, and they were too dark. And then so I was like, okay,
if you
that's why I was thinking about Queen Daenerys' boobies.
If you want to do some boob analysis, you can go see All Cheerleaders Die, and then you could also see I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and do some comparisons.
Don't encourage people to do
can
that.
Do some.
We don't.
Cross boob triangulation.
Don't do that.
And you can be the judge.
No.
Is it a story? Are they the same? You find out, I guess.
Well, do go and get I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, facebook.com/ISAZH. And I'm actually closing down the Facebook store soon. My lucrative DVD business is going under. My less than lucrative DVD business is going under. The thing is, I did actually sell quite a lot of signed DVDs. But the issue is that the Facebook store costs a certain amount to run every month. You know, there's a fee every month for it. And it's like, so I'm deep, like, down the rabbit hole, really. As New Zealand's largest distributor of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
You're deeply in debt.
I'm deeply at a loss, working at a loss on that whole business. Nobody's buying my shit. So
what about aren't your t-shirts on the same page?
No, the t-shirts are on smartapparel.com.
Right.
And so smart, I think it's .com, but definitely Smart Apparel is the name of the company. And so you can also find those on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. And so that's a different one. That doesn't cost me anything. I just get a cut. If somebody buys a t-shirt, one of my t-shirts, I just get a cut. Passive income. Booyah. Don't touch a t-shirt. I've made probably like... I don't think I've sold a single t-shirt in the last 12 months.
Lucrative business.
Operation GoPro, guys. Operation GoPro.
The savvy businessman Harley Neville is shutting down all the stores because they're costing him money.
Yeah, well, you know, so 5150, if you guys want some merch, you're actually running out of time. I'm going to shut down the store soon. Maybe I'll do like a special, like a 50% off for the 5150. Get yourself a signed I Survived a Zombie Holocaust DVD. Or one of these excellent Pigville Productions badges, which I'm not wearing actually right now.
Okay.
But I normally do. Which were gifted to us by Jeremy Howson, 5150 listener. You can buy one of those off me.
They were gifted to us and now we sell them on to you.
Yes, exactly. He's supporting us as a lover of the podcast.
Well, it's good to know that the zombie film is doing well. The cult following is just exponentially growing.
Yeah,
it's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, Yeah.
We're closing down the store.
We're close down.
It's taking down a life of its own.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's just too much work because when I am sharing and stuff, I do sell DVDs, and when I am promoting it, I do sell DVDs for sure. But it is a job. Like you've got to spend money running ads, and you've got to sort of post regularly and all that type of thing to maintain a good campaign. There are things to do, so it's like and you can't be fucked. Ends up costing you money.
What else been going on? I've got a few updates, but wanted to leave that. Let that sigh of depression just hang in the air for our podcast listeners. Well, I wanted them to really feel that and let that sink in.
Yeah. Well, I did get a mouth guard to wear at night to stop myself grinding my teeth. Yeah, and so every time I go to the dentist, by the way, I fill up my pockets with these little toothpastes, little sample-sized toothpastes, because they don't give a shit. Colgate stop by the dentist once a month and drop off like a big old box of these for all of us to come and sample them. So they don't give a shit, so I just fill up my pockets. And I never buy toothpaste. Once a year, I go to the dentist, get my toothpaste supply for the year. Anyway, I got this mouth guard because I'm an old man now. I'm just gonna grab that.
Okay. So you got a mouth guard. The mouth guard is to protect your teeth when you're asleep from grinding your teeth as you sleep.
Yeah, because I'm so stressed out all the time.
It's interesting because I feel I have this problem a little bit too, but only sometimes.
Hang on, I'll just put it in. Yeah, so it's going to be pretty sexy for my next girlfriend when I pop this in at night, my anti-grinding mouth guard in at night, before I go down on her. Yeah. Like dental care. Bitches love dental care. That's what I heard. So, this is cool.
Also, speaking of...
This costs a lot of money, actually.
Speaking of how much it cost?
$700.
Yeah, that's it's a lot of money to spend on something with no tangible... it's all about immediate results for a purchase. Whenever you buy something, you want to see it right there. You want to see it doing its thing. Like if it's a jacket, it's a cool new jacket you got on. If it's some film gear, it's some super useful film gear that you start using, straight away. The last thing you want is to have something that just is kind of there to do things in the background that you don't really care about.
It's not even like it makes my teeth grow back, Yeah. It's just preserving my teeth at age 36. I should have done this years ago. He said my teeth are quite ground down.
Speaking of being fat old men.
Yeah.
So I am preparing for my close personal friend Alex Savage's glorious comeback to the wrestling ring.
All right. Yep.
The reality is I am not single. I have a girlfriend.
Yep.
But she is halfway across the world. And what does that mean?
Hashtag wanking.
Yeah. What does that mean? It also means hashtag maybe not keeping the best of appearances.
Right.
And it also means that, you're sort of like, well, see, the thing is, it's not that I haven't been going to the gym.
Yeah.
Actually, quite the opposite. I've been going to the gym more than I've ever been going to the gym. And I'm definitely putting on muscle, but I've also got a little bit of a spare tire going on. Which was really acquired both through my journey to London and my hip recovery, where I couldn't really do anything for an extended period of time.
Makes sense.
So I'm sort of now being like, okay, shit, I'm going to have to put on some tights shortly and stand in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to like what I see. And the people are not going to like.
Yeah.
The people are not going to like what they see. So I've started this but the problem is dieting is really hard because you can't eat the nice foods that you want. So what do? What's the solution? Fasting.
Yeah.
Fasting is the solution.
Is it?
So so I've now, after watching a TED talk.
Yeah.
That was my research into this.
Yeah.
After watching a not very in-depth TED talk.
Yeah.
10-minute TED Talk.
Yeah.
Not one of the long ones. Didn't really go into detail. Didn't really explain anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the 16 and 6.
Okay.
So no eating for 16 hours and then you eat for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that's meant to help. So that's intermittent fasting is what they're calling it. Fasting.
So is that every day?
Yes. So, but obviously, there may be the odd time that I kind of slip up.
Yeah.
Or
Probably dinner time.
around there's some times that I slip up around dinner time and around breakfast time.
Yeah.
But those are the only times. The rest of the times I'm doing great.
Yeah. Yeah. So when do you start?
I've started. I've been doing it for about just over a week.
And how's that? Because it sounds pretty shit to me. It sounds like you'd be like getting kind of hungry like late at night and stuff like that.
You do get kind of hungry, but that's the idea. Because at the end of the day, if you're kind of hungry, that means that you're kind of burning fat.
Yeah.
Which is the whole goal. I mean, this is probably the thing that the most devastating thing I ever found out about dieting is not like, okay, what you have to eat, but the idea that to be on a successful diet, you will have to feel hungry most to all of the time.
Yeah.
That's the problem with dieting.
Yeah.
So it's not so much, I can't eat this or I can't have a beer. It's like you're going to have that little gnawing feeling like you want to have a little snack and it's irritating. It's kind of keeping you awake and it's just making you a little bit snappy at people. You're going to have that feeling the whole time you're on the diet.
Yeah.
And that is my big issue with the diet. And so this is one way, like, yes, you do feel hungry, but it's definitely it's not as bad because you can kind of be like, but I'm coming up to my big first meal, and then it's going to be all right. As opposed to, but I'm coming up to another cucumber salad.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know how that goes.
Well, my diet is to drink my calories. I just drink all my calories. Wake up, beer for breakfast, coffee for lunch, energy drink before bed, and then just repeat. Drink my calories.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Seems to be working.
That if you don't actually eat anything, you did do that, it will probably work. It's all liquid, so easily digested.
Yeah. So getting back in the ring, though.
That's right.
Now, this obviously comes with some health risks. Some risks that you can re-injure yourself. Now, obviously,
or injure myself in a new way.
Or that too. Now, obviously,
just as likely.
You've thought this over and you've come to your conclusion and decided those risks were negligible.
You only live twice, Mr. Bond.
Well, I will stand by you, Guy. Even if you're sitting in a wheelchair beside me with busted hips, I will stand by you.
Well, speaking of busted hips and speaking of being old and fat, the other issue is that there is definitely something wrong with my hip. We talked about that.
Yeah, did you go to the doctor?
I have an appointment. Yeah, I've sort of spoken about with the physio. It hasn't got any better. I was editing last night and it was getting very sore. I was just sitting down. Very much reminded me of my bad hip before surgery.
Yeah.
I think that it is 90% that I have exactly the same thing in my good hip or something very similar. Who can say exactly what? I will find out tomorrow because I'm going to the specialist, or maybe not tomorrow because what will happen tomorrow is he'll go, yep, there's definitely a problem here. Go take an MRI and an X-ray,
yep,
and I will talk to you in 3 weeks, which is when my next free appointment is.
Yeah. So that'll be good to go through all of that again.
Not inconvenient at all. Yes, and also that was the other thing is I've been sort of working on creating a documentary, a sort of a mini documentary for my close personal friend Alex Savage's return to the wrestling ring. And so I started going back through my sort of vlogs of going through this hip surgery. And what I found out, because this is what happens when you are sick, you go, fuck, I hate being sick and I wish I was better. When you get better, you're like, don't really remember being sick. Don't really remember it. All that stuff that happened, it's like pregnancy. Horrible, horrific ordeal. And then afterwards you're like, maybe I'll do it again.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that pain almost killed me, but maybe I'll
Go through it all again.
go have another one.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 30 hours, whatever. Do another 30.
Yeah.
So, I think there's this thing that, like, when you're recovering from surgery, like, man, I just want to be better. I want to get better. I want to get healthy. I wish I could do all these things. Slowly, very slowly, you start doing all those things again. And then you get to the point where you kind of, because it's so gradual, you forget where you started, which is essentially not walking and sitting on a big boy potty.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
This is gonna fucking suck.
I've got to do all that all over again just to get back to this point all over again.
Yeah.
So, and also another concern, of course, is the fucking classic, is that I have to take, a month, well, more than a month off work, and then come back in a lot of pain to begin with, and ACC will most likely not be covering that.
Yeah.
So that's also another, it's very hard. Like, it's easy to relax and go, look, all I got to do is heal. I just got to rehab and I got to heal. I got to do my exercises and it's cool. And when I'm ready to come back, the doctor will tell me I'm ready to come back. Whereas, for me, it's like, cool, I've got to kind of get back as fast as possible. I don't really feel very good, but I've got to start working again because the rent's coming out this week.
I've got a documentary in London to shoot.
So there's definitely, so we will update the listeners after my appointment with a specialist, and we'll see what's going on there. But whatever is going on, I can safely say it's not good.
Yep. And yet, here you are. Wrestling.
But, the thing is,
to bring it back to the wrestling.
My wrestling style is not that, like,
athletic.
Yeah. Well, I'd be much more worried about neck and back injuries than I am about my hips, because I don't, like, take lots of big bumps on my hips. Yes, some of the moves I do jar that, and that's probably not good for them. Well, it's definitely not good for them. But it's probably not as big a concern if I was a sort of a moonsaulting high flyer type of person.
Yeah.
Then my style would be more conducive to further damage. My style is actually not really that, so I'm not too worried about that specifically. Although what I am worried about is the fact that it's like, hey, he's back, yeah, top of the world, and then it's like, oh, he's going away again.
He's gotta go.
So he's got to go. So fool me once, shame on me. We all got on board for this comeback the first time round.
Yeah, but they'll understand.
Well, not real. I mean,
if you come back again, they'll still be there.
Hopefully.
Hey, Mark. Cookie will be there. Cookie will be there on the sidelines cheering.
I'll let you know in a year whether the reaction is the same. So yeah, that's what's going on there.
We also got another rejection from another festival.
Yeah, we got another 2.
Another 2 now, is it? That's good. So that's good that we spent 6 years on this film.
So far, we're at all rejections. 0 acceptances.
We have been officially selected 0 times.
So, that's cool because, we just dropped
over 2 projects.
Yeah.
Asylum.
Well, have you got some rejections from Asylum as well?
No, but we haven't been accepted.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of money still.
Yes. So, we're hoping that, things turn around.
Yeah.
But really what we've got to do is submit to some more festivals to give us more chance.
Yeah. That's what we've got to do.
Getting less rejections or getting more rejections, but slipping one through. We just got to slip one through.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Slip one through.
Yeah,
Get one up here. That's what we got to do.
So we've got to spend more money on that.
That's what we got to do.
Because we just spent $1,200.
Yes.
Submitting. That's just on festival fees for Asylum, which is the recut of our show Harrow, and Older, our second feature film, which has taken 6 years.
Lots of good feedback on Asylum.
Really?
From those that have watched the new cut.
Yeah.
No, not from you.
Not from me.
You still don't like it.
Zero positive feedback from me on that one.
0 positive affirmation or reinforcement for that additional many months that I spent
Hey
cutting
mate,
that.
it was my idea and it was half my money as well. We all sacrificed something. We all sacrificed something. But no,
Yeah, well, it was your idea.
yeah. It is.
You're gonna follow through on the work.
Yeah, I went to work to get money to pay for that. Fuck. So we do need to submit for more is the answer there. We absolutely do. So if anybody would like to support us with those fees, you can by going patreon.com/Pigville, or if you'd rather make a one-off donation, you can go to paypal.com and use the email address pigvilleproductions@gmail.com.
Also, if anyone's a festival director out there, that would like a drama, a romantic drama about the is a friend of someone that says, "What's up, cocksuckers?"
Yeah.
Not much, mate, as we've just been explaining. Not a hell of a lot, actually.
Somebody on the live stream chiming in. The best known 420. Yo, what's up, cocksuckers? But you're not supposed to, I've got strict rules. I'm the technical producer of this show. You're not supposed to interrupt a story to talk to this knobhead on the fucking stream. No offense, the best known 420. So do continue whatever you were saying.
Well, look, this is the problem with this whole 6-year odyssey is, the stakes get higher as the time takes longer, because it's like, well, you've invested this fucking time, and then, I think, there's this pit of fear in my stomach that Older just doesn't get accepted into festivals.
It doesn't get in anywhere. Nobody wants it.
Nowhere.
And we just put it on YouTube. We put it on the Pigville. It goes youtube.com/Pigville and the number 2, Pigville 2, and that's where you can see the full movie.
Yeah, so I'm definitely...
with as many ads as we can possibly get on it.
I'm definitely concerned. Like the worst thing that can happen is you can make a film, it can take a very long time, and no one gives a fuck. And to be honest, that's most indie films. So it's not like, oh, we're in this unique situation where this thing is very... Don't worry, that's super unlikely. I'm sure you'll be fine. Actually, probably the opposite.
Yeah.
But then your sense of failure and disappointment is magnified far more than had this been a 6-month odyssey.
Well, obviously, I mean, 6 years is a fucking long time.
But
5 years was 5 years was a long time for I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Yeah.
Waiting for I Survived a Zombie Holocaust to come out. But when it came out, it was a big success in many ways.
Yeah.
It did get wide international distribution and is still playing on TV in America
Got
on
into
Showtime and
festivals,
AT&T.
got distributor.
It won the Independent Spirit Award at the A Night of Horror International Film Festival in Sydney. And we both attended screenings in all different places around the world. It was it did open doors for us and was a big old opportunity. And lots of people, local media people, heard about it, and people in general heard about it. It was a big success, and yet it's going to be difficult to. I guess it's going to be difficult to replicate that if we're doing it ourselves.
It's certainly true. Yes, it certainly seems that on this current trajectory, that. Sort of, I guess what you would call limited success.
Yeah.
Modest success.
Yeah.
Will be unreplicatable.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going back to the well with horror next time.
Yeah.
What is the moral of the story? Well, one, don't spend 6 years on a film. Well, obviously if you can help it. But I think what is the moral of the story is, for me, it's don't leave all the post-production to me. Give that to someone else.
Yeah.
So that's my first lesson.
Well, how do you give it to someone though? How do you find somebody that wants to do the post-production, manage the post-production on your film for free for 3 years?
I think that's the thing, is you maybe set aside some money for that.
Yeah.
So you maybe find some money to pay the person. It's better than that time that you will lose.
But what are you? So essentially,
edited.
you're looking for a post-production producer.
No, post-production editor. Just the editor.
Oh, yeah.
So the editor.
So you're not talking about somebody that just handles all the post-production and manages it and keeps it all streamlined and stuff.
No, I think I can do that in conjunction with the editor without any dramas. Because, I mean, the post workflow for this is not actually... It's been much easier than zombie film because I handled it all and I didn't do any dumb shit. And so it's actually been, relatively speaking, you know, it's still time consuming, but that part of it is not the issue. Whereas with the zombie film, it's like, oh, we're missing this shot. Oh, we're missing this footage. Oh, we're missing this audio. Oh, we're missing fucking everything. Oh, nothing's been labeled. Oh, this hard drive's kind of freezing. Oh, you know, we've gone from 50 shots to 250 visual effects shots. It was just a constant ongoing disaster and mismanagement of varying degrees, whereas this one is like none of those things really. So, but I guess that's my takeaway is I just got to stop editing things, really. I'm retiring from editing. That's really the key. But also, you know, look, at the end of the day, maybe no one gives a fuck about this fucking romantic lovey-dovey shit in the indie world. Like, sure, if I'm fucking Tom Hanks and opposite Meg Ryan, great. I fucking want to know more about that shit. But in this world is like, what we initially set out to do, or what I initially set out to do, was to make something that was completely the opposite. So I didn't want to do a horror film. So, you know, I wanted to do a film like this. But maybe, you know, what I should have thought is like, yeah, cool, you want to do a film like this. But does anyone want to fucking see it?
Yeah.
Does anyone want to see these types of stories really? Like, in the low budget world. You might
be right, but like the trailer did do very well and did get a very good response from everybody as well. People are into that. You know, they were loving that trailer. Very positive responses all round and a lot of views on it.
That's true.
So, you know, let's not stay too negative. Let's sort of stray back towards the middle, where it's still remotely possible that it could go either way. You know,
right?
So let's kind of focus on that for now, right? Because I think it'll come down to like the marketing. It'll always, like everything, it'll come down to the marketing.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what is it that makes people want to watch this film. So it needs a good, you know, kick-ass new trailer that can replicate the success of the first trailer, but at a time when the film is actually available to watch, not 5 years beforehand. So, you know, because that did get, you know, really good traction, and that was with our social media being what it was back then, you know, whereas now, 5 years later, our social media is way better.
Yeah.
Our reach is way bigger and all that stuff. So actually, if we had launched that trailer now, it would get a much wider you know, response, I think.
But I just think that, like, maybe I should have thought more about, like, look, for instance, what is always sellable in the
horror.
Exactly. Because, like, what is always sellable with no stars?
Horror.
Exactly. So, you know, if I was thinking, okay, this isn't going to be a small indie film, it's going to be a bigger film, okay, then that becomes, it can be any type of genre. Yeah. But if we're working on our level doing that sort of small scale stuff, okay, well, probably horror or straight comedy, like, you know, super comedy, like super bad comedy. Yeah. Could be another sort of, those are the two that really work. Yeah. I mean, what was the last film you saw where you were like, this looks like some... not dumb indie shit. This looks like I don't know anyone in it, and it's not. I don't know anything like about it, but I'm gonna take a punt on this. Yeah. Like, what was that?
I've literally never done that in my life. I don't think I've ever been like, you would do that though. You've watched all sorts of random shit, but I'm not going to go to the DVD store. I imagine they still exist. And if I saw the cover to Older and I picked it up and I looked at the back and it said a love triangle, you know, about like growing up, you know, when you're like 30, I'd be like, the fuck is this shit? And I'd have put it back immediately. And I would walk away.
You'd walk away swiftly.
And I would wish bankruptcy upon that entire industry of DVD.
You'd walk away swiftly from that aisle of the DVD store. as fast as your little legs could carry you.
Exactly.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, but
That is my
obviously, but this was always a problem for me, really, with the entire project, was that it was never the genre that I wanted to create. It was never the genre that I, like, watch or anything like that. So it was like, but this was what you wanted to make, this is what you had written, and the things that appealed to me were that it was only going to take 1 year, and it was going to be very simple to shoot because it was just going to be a few people in the rooms talking.
Yeah, well, one
that
of
was
those,
how you sold it to me.
one
And
of
then
those-
you are 6 years later still working on this fucking drama romance.
One of those things is true. One of those things was true.
What?
It was
easy?
relatively
Yeah.
simple and easy to film.
Yeah, it was.
That is 100% true. The year thing,
Yeah, it was just 6 years instead of 1 year, and it's still not out. And
surprise.
and like, let's be real, by the time we actually get this thing out, it's still another year away.
Could be.
Like, if it has a festival run, if it gets into some festivals, then it's guaranteed at least a year away.
Well, don't worry, mate. At this rate, it'll be this year.
Yeah, well, see, always stay positive.
Yeah,
There's
always stay on a positive.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we'll keep you obviously updated, and hopefully, if the 5150 all come to the party.
Yeah, what, as in by buying it?
Yeah.
When it comes out.
On iTunes or whatever that first release is.
Yeah.
It'll put us into the iTunes current new releases, and then success.
Yeah. Well, look, we definitely need to do a secret screening for the 5150, but where they buy it, and they can buy it directly off us. So we set up a screening for the 5150, but we get them to actually buy it as well.
Right.
So the screening is online on Twitch, and it's you and me, and we're kind of talking over it. Mm-hmm. So they buy it to watch it properly, and then they can also watch the live stream version of us talking about it, like a behind the scenes but live, behind the scenes commentary but live. I'd pay to see that. It's a fucking genius idea. Who's with me? Kieran's with me.
Have we?
Kieran Charnock, star of Stray,
which just got into another good festival.
yeah.
Keeping tabs on them festivals.
Yeah,
They've been doing
Stray,
all right.
independent
The life
Kiwi
continues.
film. Yeah, well, no, didn't it just get it won
Oh
something
yeah,
quite
won
big
an award.
at like quite a big festival?
Oh, it's won heaps of awards.
Yeah.
Like, let's not diminish that it's won many awards. This is just the latest in a long line.
Well,
I believe they shot that after older.
so yeah, of course they did. They did it way later.
Everyone shot
remember.
shot the films coming out after older.
Yeah, they did. It's
Look-
almost as if, Guy,
Yeah.
that the issue is not to do with the sheer workload, because everybody's facing a similar workload. It's almost as if the issue is our lack of streamlined workflow and professionalism, which is what we need to perhaps create more of, a more business-like approach to all of this,
Sure.
as opposed to just two dicks making movies
But I think
and doing too much themselves.
yeah, that's reality. But also, and I guess that
Viva la Dirt League. There's a great example of being able to do it, of being able to making content make money for you.
Yeah, I don't really like their I like their content, but I don't really want to make their content.
Well, yeah, but I'm not talking about making their content. I'm just talking about maximizing every production so that you can make money from it. So it's like getting online followers and selling merch and regularly uploading stuff and all that type of thing.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. Viva la Dirt League will never be feature filmmakers.
Well, yes, they will. They will totally make a feature film soon.
They may make
absolutely.
They may make a feature film, but I don't think that this is the thing. You have content creators, like YouTube content creators, like Viva la Dirt League, like people like that make their money through consistency.
Yeah.
And then you have filmmakers. They're never the twain shall meet. You very rarely see like actual filmmakers that are making feature films also be content creators. Sometimes
what a load of
give me some
shit.
Examples.
Of what? Of filmmakers who regularly upload stuff to YouTube as well, but also make feature films.
Yeah.
Literally every millennial filmmaker that you can name.
But give me an example of
I don't
I'm not talking about like we need a specific example of like a successful like not just.
So you're asking me to find you an example of somebody who
Well, it should be
began
easy,
their
right? Because you
career
just
on
said all of
YouTube,
them.
Who began their career on YouTube.
No, what I'm saying is content creators. So either
Yeah.
you're making your money, like consistently.
You're asking me to delve into the personal details of people that I don't know. Their financial
Well, no, you
details,
would know about
the personal financial
what
details.
I'm
I
saying,
have no idea how they run
No,
that
what
stuff.
I'm saying is you would know them because you would know their content. And maybe our listeners can help us out. You'd know them because they are making content consistently on YouTube,
Yeah.
and then they've made a feature film.
Yeah.
That's how you'd know them.
Okay,
While
well, like,
still doing the same thing.
So are you? I don't understand what your point is.
My point is this: you
can't do both, but that's bullshit. There's heaps of people that are doing both. I mean, like,
Well, give me an example of one.
Shane Dawson.
That's not okay.
He made a feature film.
Did anyone ever see it?
I'm sure literally millions of people saw it. I'm
Maybe
sure
if
more
he
people saw it than people saw I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. In fact, I guarantee it.
Okay.
Okay.
But is Shane Dawson now making more feature films?
I don't know. I don't really follow his career very closely, but there was what about, I can't remember their name, but there were these Asian guys in America that were making like short films on YouTube with heaps of really big visual effects, heaps and heaps of visual effects, and they're doing like cop dramas and like sci-fi and these types of things, and they are really high production value with amazing computer graphics and stuff. Those guys, I'm absolutely positive, have gone on to have a very successful feature film career. Like, everybody's doing it this way nowadays. You're honestly trying to argue against, like, making a living online in order to make movies at the same time.
No, what I'm saying is it's not possible because...
People are doing it. It is
who?
possible.
Who is doing it?
If
That's
the
people
Viva La Dirt League guys
Yep.
wanted to make a feature film right now...
They would have to stop...
For a while.
But then their income drops off.
Temporarily.
And
just
their
like our
audience.
income drops off.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if you're making a living...
You shoot them all in one hit. You go, okay, guys, we're going to need to take a few weeks off in a couple of weeks to shoot that feature film.
But you're going to have to take a year
extra
off.
shit. We're going to shoot some extra shit. No, they don't have to take a year. They've got enough money from their consistent work online that they can use that money to pay for the post-production.
I think the fundamental problem with doing a feature or not doing
this is literally the worst. This is so
But you
backwards.
haven't given me an example of someone that's done it.
You're asking me to pick
I'm saying pick an example of someone that has...
to Google it and go filmmakers who started as YouTubers. Just
Google
that.
No, because that's not the same.
No, it is.
No, that's someone that started off doing YouTube, became successful,
and then
parlayed that into
films.
making a film,
Yeah.
and stopped doing YouTube because they no longer had time because they make fucking films now.
Now you're speculating as to whether or not they stopped. Who knows what they
I'm
did.
not, because I could
Just
like...
you're asking me to provide
an
example of such a random and specific thing.
Okay, but
no,
it's not.
It's not like that.
It's not specific because one, it's not specific. It's specific to what do I want to do? I want to be a feature filmmaker. Okay, so that's what I want to do. I want to make big projects.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So if I want to make big projects,
so do you just, when you're learning to run, do you just go straight to running, or do you like start with smaller stuff? And
but that's the thing. We've done the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the thing.
Okay, but this thing that we're doing, this strategy that you're championing right now, this very bad strategy you're championing right now, is not working. It's taking us 6 years to put out a film. It's taking us 5 years to put out another film.
Okay, but I'm not.
The last
I'm
YouTube
not
video we
championing.
put out was fucking ages
I'm not
ago.
championing a strategy. I am saying it is impossible to do both.
And I'm saying that is the stupidest statement. And if you just Google it after the show, you will find many examples of people who have made YouTube content, made feature films, gone back to YouTube content, waited a while, made another feature film, created more YouTube content, created a bigger and bigger audience, made money that way, made another feature film, sending their audiences from one place to another. Guy, you don't have to think so. You have to Google, and you'll do it, and you'll see that there's fucking heaps of them. It's literally that is what people do now.
Well, what I could say is,
if you've got heaps of money, you can just afford to make big projects every now and then, and you can be so busy on on Lord of the Rings or something like that.
No,
but that's not.
But that's what I'm
average
saying.
Indie
Like
filmmaker.
Yeah, but an indie filmmaker, a feature film is incredibly time-intensive process.
Yes, and sometimes
from
you've got to take some time
from start to finish.
Yes,
right?
I know, and yet somehow you manage to do it with a day job, and so
I
they can
don't
do it with
yeah,
their day
but
job,
that's
which
the
is
thing.
filming YouTube videos.
Well,
what's the big deal? If it's easier, they're in the same industry. It's a much better strategy, and it pays better, and it builds you an audience at the same time. It's literally the only way to succeed nowadays. is to use that.
That's like
You're hamstringing yourself.
But
this
that's
is the
not
problem.
that's not true though. It's not the like because okay, like let's like I'll bring up a list of all my favorite new directors, right?
Okay.
And none
I'm
of them
looking forward to this anecdotal.
and none of them will be YouTube content creators to begin with.
Okay.
So what?
Cool.
So why? So but they didn't do the thing that you just said.
So if you name one, we'll Google him, right? We'll jump on Wikipedia
Well,
and
look,
we'll
you
see.
can pick
Does he
out-
have rich parents? You know, like
Yeah,
did he win the lotto?
No.
Like what's his circumstances? Was he just a guy? Was he just a dude who just made one movie and it was just super lucky and he suddenly became a millionaire from that movie? You know, like delve into the circumstances of each one and the random coincidence that they aren't YouTubers as well. Even though I doubt that's even true.
Of course, it's true. Most people like that's the thing. Like, where do we find the time? Like, you keep going. Oh, just imagine it. Just imagine. Like, okay, well, when? Because all I do in my spare time, when I'm not working,
is work on Pigville stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's for big.
So what we need
projects.
So what we need is a restructure where you and I, right, we have a wee launch pad and we have a go at making it work and we work together and we split all the money and operate as a business. The left hand washes the right hand. We create this content, we put it out. We're still freelancing on the side and all that type of thing. We're still doing all of that same stuff that we're doing now. It's just that we're spending more time to build up this thing Pigville as an entity. And one of the ways to do that is to create the content and put it out there to the 20,000 fucking subscribers we have on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, like we have this launch pad ready to go. And then what that means is, and I know this is so weird that you can't comprehend this, if we have 1 million followers when Older comes out, we don't need to worry about distribution. We've got a distribution platform at our hands.
That's fine,
we're
Harley,
ready to rock.
but
let's do that.
But that's like it still doesn't. You say restructure, redo this, but that doesn't explain where the time comes to do both of these things.
I know. So here's the thing. You and I wouldn't just bring it up randomly now. We'd sit down and have a meeting and we'd say, all right, guy, you're a smart guy, aren't you? I'm a smart guy too. Let's see how we can make this work. What can we do? What time of the week can we set aside to consistently do the podcast? Is it 5 p.m. on a Tuesday? Is that when we do it? Because that's going to help us get more followers, which is going to get us more Patreon subscribers, which is going to get this, that, the other thing. Okay, cool. Well, we did find a good space to slot the podcast
but the answer,
in.
Harley,
Excellent.
to
What else
that
can we do?
first thing you said is flawed, because the first thing you said is, can we set aside Tuesday 5 p.m., right? The answer right off the bat
It's obviously an example,
is
guy.
obviously no, we can't, because we both do freelancing jobs that may or may not be on any given day.
Yeah, okay.
So right off the bat, we cannot do the start of your plan.
Well, no, we can though. If we are the masters of our own destinies and we are creating content and being our own bosses, we can say, you know what, I'm going to set aside 5 p.m. on Tuesday and say no to work on that day. But it's okay because I'm making money from the podcast now. So that money, those few hours that I set aside each week on a time that is quiet normally anyway, is now making me money. So it's fine, you know.
And
you got to look longer term. You got to go, okay, cool. So in 2 years it all pays off. But like, we would have to sit down and put together a proper plan. It's obviously what you would do. I'm not just saying you would just make it up right now on the spot. You put together a proper plan. It would be something like, okay, so we need $10,000 and that can pay our rent for a certain amount of time. During this time, we are going to release a vlog a week and a skit a week or whatever. A vlog is easy. A vlog a week and a skit a week and a podcast a week. Something like that.
But I don't think that is easy. I think that it's easy to...
No, a vlog is easy.
But not even really, because who wants to watch a shit vlog?
Well, we wouldn't make shit vlogs. Why is your belief in us so low that you think we would make a shit
vlog? But that's the thing.
vlog?
Like, because one thing takes time and one thing doesn't take that much time. Do a shit vlog, it doesn't take much time. Do a proper vlog, then it's not easy and it takes just as long as doing any other type of fucking thing.
That's not true. Vlogs are definitely easier to edit. A little vlog update of a minute is easier to put together than a script and a story which has to be shot and edited and all the rest of it.
Okay.
So
have you been watching lots of vlogs lately? Because they kind of follow a story and they're pretty complex, the ones that are popular.
Okay, sure.
So then why does anyone watch a worse version of that?
Well, people do. And the reason why is because they're interested in us. Why would they listen to a podcast like ours when they could listen to the Joe Rogan Project?
Well, because
Like,
our podcast is not a bad podcast.
yeah, well, our vlogs wouldn't be bad either. So what's the fucking problem?
Well, the problem is
So
that...
stupid, man. It's
No,
so stupid. You're
but-
undermining our content before we've even created
No, I'm not
it.
undermining
It's
it. What
we
I'm
would
saying
do a
is...
vlog a week and we go,
Okay,
hey
if you
guys,
do-
this is what we're doing this week. Do you know us? You know, here we are. We're on set. What are we doing, guy? We're shooting this fucking funny skit that we're working on. Wow, this is interesting. It's essentially a behind the scenes on us creating this project. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Maybe it gets half as many views as the actual final video. That's fine.
But what
That's
you're
a
doing
50% increase.
is gravely underestimating both the work it takes to
No,
create
I'm
that
not.
content.
I understand how much
You're like,
work it is.
vlogging's easy. We just do a vlog. Doesn't take long. That's what
Guy,
you just said.
I made a vlog the other day
Uh-huh.
that it was my application video for Married at First Sight.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a fuck around. It was, but
Yep.
it didn't take me a week to do or anything like that.
No,
you know, like,
but how
was
long did it
okay.
take you? A day?
Yeah, well, I spread it out just a little bit here and there for over several days.
Mm.
But if I had wanted to smash it out in an afternoon, I absolutely could have.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a big deal. And if we got our workflow smooth, it could be real easy. We could do it all the time. Like basically what we're looking at is either going along, punching the wall like we are right now, just trying to make our way through, just bushwhacking through, which is dumb, just working real hard, or we've got to lay plans for longer term stuff. And that's what this online stuff is. It can have us a long-term return income, return on followers, which we can then use as a very powerful tool, both that income and those followers, as a way to promote our feature film projects. And all we've got to do is really get it set up and like set aside some time and make it and
Every
really
week,
think about it.
all the time.
Yes, we need to
do
set
it.
aside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, guy. We need to set aside
Yeah.
a certain amount of time to concentrate on Pigville, whether
No,
it's every
no,
week
well,
or
when
whether
you
it's
say
every month or
Pigville,
whatever.
You're saying online content YouTube creation at Pigville.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
saying, or anything. It can be short films. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't always have to be a vlog or a skit every week. We can change. We can create whatever we want to create. I'm just saying we've got to consistently create
Yeah.
stuff. All I'm arguing for here is you and me creating more content. That's what I want to do.
But I keep
and I understand you
yeah.
can't do it. But the reason why you can't do it is because you're working all the time. And the reason why you're working all the time is because you're so terrible with your money that
No,
we all
that's
get.
not like that's the thing though. That is untrue. It may have been true at certain points for sure, but really that's not the issue. The issue is I work a certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's cool. Every week I have spare time. In that spare time, I do the bigger projects that are currently on the Pigville slate. I work towards those things. If I stopped doing those things would progress even slower than they are now. And some of those things are, for instance, Emmy the Vegan. One of those things would be writing the new web series. One of those things is writing the new feature. So I'm doing all of these, but you're saying I get that. So you don't get that because if you
No,
did
I get that.
if you get
I'm
it,
saying that you're operating on a tactical level, not a strategic level. You need to. Why are you? Like you're so focused on these one things at a time,
But
and,
I'm not.
and you can't.
I'm
step,
doing
and you-
multiple
and you-
things at a
and-
time.
Yes, okay, and you can't step back and say, "Well, hang on a minute. If we set up a better system, I won't have to go to my day job at all, and we can operate in a smoother way,
But what-
put out more
but what
content,
you're
and I'll have
saying,
more time
that's-
and energy for editing older or doing whatever."
That's cool, but
We're talking about restructuring
but
the entire
restruct-
business plan.
But restructuring the entire
because
business
we don't
plan
have a business plan.
essentially means 1 to 2 years of working straight trying to create content to build that up. Because
Yeah,
that's
I
the-
know. So we should have started fucking years ago.
Well, only
You know, it's like, let's get on with it, man. Why are we fucking around? We're not this
No one's
strategy. We've
fucking
given this
around.
strategy a long time and it hasn't worked. So we need to.
Well,
we need to have a look at it and go, well, hang on a minute. How can we make it sustainable? The answer is bigger online income, more content going out, more fans coming in, and then we've got more people seeing our movies, which means we're more likely to get funding for the next movie and for the next movie. You got to think bigger. We need a bigger strategy here.
okay, but the strategy...
And you're busy, I get it.
But the strategy is, so I put all that to the side and go, okay,
No,
cool,
guy,
it's online
no,
content.
now you're just saying negative stuff without thinking about
No,
it. We haven't
I've
decided.
thought
we
about
haven't
this
decided.
very
We haven't,
deeply.
we haven't had a meeting. We've never had a single meeting saying, okay, how would we transform our current workflow into something more productive, such as more output and more
Yes,
more
but
income,
there is
more
only-
online income.
you're right.
We have not had a single meeting.
You're
Now,
right.
If we had a meeting about
But
it, a
there's-
couple of smart guys like us, you would point out some problems and then we'd solve the
But
problems. Then
there's-
I'd point out a problem.
There's only one answer. And the answer is, not do those things for a period of time.
Yes,
that's the only answer.
No, well, we don't know yet, but it will require some.
Well, that's
sort of
the
sacrifice.
realistic answer.
It will require some sort of sacrifice. Now, there's other ways that for example, let's say, let's imagine that we got an injection of funding from a benevolent fucking benefactor, and we had $10,000, say, or $20,000, right? What does that mean? That means straight away you don't need to put aside any work on Older. You don't need to put aside work on Emmy the Vegan. All you got to do is stop going to your day job, and then you spend that time to still do the same amount of work on Emmy the Vegan and Older and all that type of thing, but where you would have been working on a normal pleb job, you're instead creating the content that your heart desires, which we then put on the internet for our 20,000 rabid YouTube subscribers, and then you let me generate an income from that, and I will use that to get us up and running, get a passive income going, and meanwhile the other creative projects haven't slowed down at all. They've just kept on ticking along slowly in the background, and we are ultimately 5 years from now, when we're fucking 41, in a much better place than we are if we just keep hacking and slashing at the bloody bushes right now.
But you have to then go, cool, except the more realistic thing is there's going to be no injection of $10,000 or $20,000.
Well, again, we're not talking about realistic, with that 10.
Aren't we?
No, we're not. We're talking about is this the best strategy? What is the best strategy? Okay, let's imagine a strategy. Well, what about a strategy where we did set aside a wee bit of money and we did make this happen? We did a similar thing. We've done a similar thing in the past. It was called Operation Semi-Pro, where you got about $3,000, and in my mind, it was so that we could set up something a little bit more sustainable. You would have a bit more time to work on creative stuff, and we would increase our output. And in that time, we did no caller ID and not wanking, as well as you did a bunch of stuff on Older. And so it's essentially, it would be a similar sort of setup where it's suddenly we acquire this money however we do, and we can put our heads together and think about that and figure that out, and then we launch it. But it's Operation fucking Full Pro for a while. And the thing is, we're still freelancing. We're still taking all the lucrative freelance work we can get and our day job shit, but it just means you don't have to do pleb work that takes up time and doesn't pay very well.
Well, I think that, fundamentally the problem comes down to you split your time. So But
you're splitting your time between your day job now. I'm talking about
that's cool. You're
quitting
saying
your job essentially.
Well, that's great.
That's wonderful.
To go pro. Wonderful. But, that's a great concept, except there has to be some money in place to do that.
Yes, okay. So where does money come from? It comes from saving, it comes from planning, all those types of things, and it comes from working. So we better get fucking started. We better get saving and planning and working, right? So we got to get onto it, right? We've got to get onto it. This is what we need to get on with. This is what I'm fucking saying. We're 36. We're running out of time. Let's get on with it. Let's get our finances sorted. Let's go pro. And yes, it'll take 2 years or something like that. And that's fine. Because unfortunately that's reality. It's not ideal, but if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Okay, but I don't believe that 2 years of trying to cultivate your YouTube
that number's been pulled out of nowhere, by the way.
Well, just to
also
build
not cultivating. We have 20,000 subscribers already.
Yeah, but to sort of establish a true fan base and to push it and get it sort of going.
Yeah, if anyone could do it, we could. We've got a launch pad already, all the gear standing by, all the connections, and your brain full of amazing skits that you just can't wait to create.
But that's the thing. My brain is full of amazing movies and longer form content I can't wait to create.
Not a problem, mate. I will come up with a lot of skit ideas as well. I do have a bunch of them written down, and seeing as we'll be doing one a week, will require all of our creative input.
So I just think that there isn't a good solution. You either become a content creator and you really devote all your time to being a YouTube content creator, or you do more longer form stuff and you don't really have time to do that unless you get a big injection of money, but we don't have a big injection of money currently.
No, but say we looked for an injection of money, but also say that, you still have, so you're saying that if the money was there, it would be a better plan. than working a day job. Your options are work a day job and make feature films, or treat your passion as a day job and create content during the day and still make your feature films at the same ratio. We're talking about making it so that your content creation earns the same amount of money as you're currently getting now, so that you can survive and pay your rent. So your options are content creation for a living and making feature films at the same ratio, or working a day job, overnight at the security firm, and Ubering and making feature films at the same rate. Because that's what I'm offering here.
No, because
that's what I'm offering. If you've got the money, right? Yeah. So obviously the answer is, if somehow you can make it that you can set it up and get that initial funding going and create this content enough to earn a living, right? Then it's obviously a better system if you can get that initial injection of cash, or you can make that happen.
To a degree, but
how is it to a degree? How is working at the security job better in any way, shape, or form than making a living from creating your own content?
Well, I'll tell you how. Because one, you can't just fucking create forever, Harley. Like, you don't necessarily...
Oh, so you don't have enough ideas?
No, I definitely don't have enough ideas. Two, this doesn't matter. It's not relative to the ideas or not. It's relative to the concept. Like, content creator burnout is a very prevalent and serious problem.
Well, let's worry about that when we get to it, mate. Not at the beginning of the process. We'll worry about that when we're millionaires with our burnouts.
Okay, but... you could get burnt out in fucking 5 weeks of doing this.
Maybe, but there's only one way to find out. And why do you have such little faith? I don't think that you and I would burn out in 5 weeks. You work overnight shifts and work a million different jobs and go Ubering and do all of this shit, and you have time to spend hours doing this older stuff, and you haven't burned out for 6 years. This would be the same amount of energy. Probably it would be less. Once we got it set up, once we got a good workflow in place, it would be less energy than going to work and driving different places and doing all that shit.
Well, not necessarily though, because I can expend my energy on the stuff that I concentrate on in my other time. If I was trying to create all the time and trying to think and trying to edit and all that sort of thing.
So you're speculating about that you wouldn't really like it.
I'm not really...
I might not like creating content all the time. Okay, mate. Well, if you were creating content all the time, right, and I said to you, well, how about this? How about instead of this, you can go back to being a security guard and an Uber driver for minimum wage. You'd be like, oh, actually, I think I'm going to keep making content with my mate Harley.
I'd go, one, I think we're on less than minimum wage at the moment, even though we have...
we're talking about if we can get to a situation where you're earning the same as you are now, but not having to go to work.
Okay, but that is like, that's not just a moderately successful channel. That's an incredibly successful channel.
Well, it's still less successful than Viva La Dirt League.
Well, but there's only one Viva La Dirt League in New Zealand.
Oh, so you don't rate your ability to compete?
No,
with
because
other content creators.
Well, one, they've got 3 people that write, direct, and edit.
Yeah, so we would have to work on our workflow. It might be that I have to do a lot more editing and writing as well, given that we're shooting a lot of content regularly. But here I am, fucking standing by, ready and waiting, sir.
But they've still got one extra person.
Okay, mate, but we create one less show than them. They create multiple. They create 3-4 shows.
But also they
we create 1 or 2 shows. We create 1 show and a vlog. You're just pulling out stupid,
it's
circumstantial,
it's not crazy.
Silly fears.
It's not. It's not.
Fuck all that. We'll cross all of those bridges. We're fully capable.
It's not crazy for me to go, well, that we might not.
These are things we discuss.
Reach a very high level of success through our content.
Of course it's possible. But can it go any worse than it is? Can it go any worse than 6 years?
Yes, it can
go any worse than 6 years on a film? No official selections, no nothing.
Yep, it can definitely go worse than that because that's not the only thing that we've done in this 6 years. So it can definitely go worse than that because essentially we can do 50 shitty skits.
Why are they shitty?
For a year.
Why are they shitty? Why are you making shitty skits, guy?
Because we're making them once a week.
Why do you think that the skits have to be shitty?
Because we're making them once a week.
Okay, guy. If you don't want to make it once a week, that's fine. We'll make them once every 2 weeks.
Okay,
that's okay. We'll figure it out. This is all stuff we'd figure out when we're doing our maths and our calculations. If you need 2 weeks, we'll do it 2 weeks.
But that's the thing. Like, you need to be releasing 1 to 2 things per week. At the beginning of your equation, you'd say that's how much we have to make. If we really want to grow our audience.
Yeah, it's ideal, but it's still a big step in the right direction if it's once every 2 weeks, and we can still work on it and grow it as we go over time.
Okay, but what I'm saying is one web series in a year might be a lot better than 50 or 25 skits on YouTube.
Well, I would say that if over the last year, instead of having one web series not come out, which is Emmy the Vegan, which has taken a year already, it's been close to 2 years since we shot the pilot episode for it. The show itself was shot a year ago, and it's a year away from coming out. So that's 3 years for one web series. Now, if you're talking about doing 25 just in the last year, 25 skits, which is once every 2 weeks, I would argue that if we had 25 extra pieces of content, short films, music videos, web, skits, whatever we want, just 25 extra bits of short content on our YouTube channel, that we would actually be quite well off. Not financially, but I mean, like, as in we'd have a lot more followers, and we would have more money. We'd definitely have more money.
That is only predicated on the belief
if we put something out every 14 days for the last year.
That is going to be good.
Yes, Guy. Obviously, every single thing I make, I assume it's going to be good.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't make it. So we do have to come up with good ideas. That's going to be part of the challenge.
All the time.
Yes, and that's part of the life of a creative person, coming up with creative stuff. But luckily, I believe in you and me, and I reckon that we can do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing about creativity, is that it gets refined down to a point and an idea and one good thing, and then you do that good thing. If you go, I don't know what's good or what's bad, I just believe everything I do is good, I've got to shit out this thing this week or this fortnight. It doesn't matter what. That's the problem. It doesn't matter.
What you're saying is you just don't believe that you can create enough good content to make a living.
What I'm saying,
and that's fine. I believe we can.
Okay.
And I believe in us. And I really think that if we continued the Lord of the Rings web series, for example, and we met Gollum and we took the fucking ring to Mordor, I honestly think that could go very, very viral. I actually think that has a lot of potential, and it's already got a lot of views online, and there's all sorts of things like that we could just continue the stories of. The project is a great example, except for instead of shooting it in one big series, we would have to think of a way to shoot it, weekly, or I don't know, we'd figure that shit out as we went. We'd figure out the way that worked the best for us. Either way, it just cannot be denied that it would be way better if we were making a living creating content that we want to create instead of going to pleb day jobs.
Cool.
And then we can still freelance on the side.
But don't you think there are way more fucking ifs in your scenario? Like unrealistic ifs. Like if people like the stuff we're putting out. If we can come up with this ideas all the time. If we continue to grow and not really grow, but not really shrink. If we manage to, find some money. That is
but
like.
Are you trying to say? Do you think that I don't think there's any risk involved or something? I understand
No,
there's a lot of risk
is
involved. None of this. It's like you're not talking about things that are legit fears here. You're saying like. There's so many ifs. Obviously, there's going to be some big risks. What we're discussing here is not whether or not it's going to be difficult. We're not discussing whether or not there's going to be things that we're going to have to overcome. What we're discussing here is whether or not, looking long-term at the next 5 years, 10 years of our content creation, what is a strategy that is going to work long-term? The options are continue whacking away like we are.
But that's what you say.
No, let me finish.
Whacking away, which is
like
not
we are.
what we're doing.
Whacking away, working full time. You never get any spare time. Just working too hard all the time, constantly busy, and not in your career, not really progressing, right? Or we establish ourselves as content creators. We are creating content regularly with people that we respect and like working with, and we create YouTube. We get more YouTube views and it becomes a self-growing thing. And at the same time, we're creating our content. Now, 5 to 10 years from now, which one of those strategies do you think is going to be more likely to succeed and have us at rock star, millionaire status?
I would say they're both equally as likely.
Oh, that
for
is
sure.
Silly.
Right.
That is
so
the silliest thing I've
what
heard.
you're saying though.
I'm saying we should take the risk and back ourselves and do it full time.
Or take the risk and back yourself and make smaller, big projects that are better.
Part time though.
Sure.
I'm talking about creating content full time. You're talking about creating content part time.
Yes.
Yes. Why? How on earth can you sit there realizing the finite fucking length of your life and sit there and say we should go part-time, Harley. Let's stay part-time. I'm saying
I'm not
mate,
saying let's
I'm
stay
saying,
part-time.
mate, I'm saying, mate, let's go full-time. And the only way to do that, the only feasible way that I can see to do that is to monetize what we do and monetize our passion.
But just as
and we need to do that.
Sure, but just as likely a feasible way to do that would be to make bigger projects that are funded.
Okay, and how do we get that funding?
Well, not through being YouTube content creators.
Oh, really? So you don't think that you get funding based on your online following? Do you if you look at the Film Commission's outlines and NZ On Air's outlines and stuff, do you think that they don't pay any attention to people's online followings? Is that a relevant piece of information?
I think they pay a lot more attention to the scripts and projects that are pitched to them.
I think that you are grossly underestimating the value of having an audience built into a project. That is a huge value.
I'm not saying it doesn't help you, but I'm also saying that, cool, you write something pretty undercooked, half-assed because you're a content creator. Wait a minute.
Why did you write a half-assed thing, Guy?
Because I'll tell you why we fucking wrote a half-assed thing, because I was making content every fucking week for our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So I had a lot less time to think about it and work it out and do it well.
So back
because
yourself.
That's all the fucking time I had. So I can't back myself because it's a time relative situation. So yes, it would be half-assed and undercooked relative to the idea that I had more time to do it.
So the answer is that you don't believe you are capable of creating enough content. That's what you're saying. You're saying that you do not believe that you can create high-quality content regularly.
That is one of the many problems in your scenario. Just one.
Yes, there's a lot of things, but you're saying let's not even try. No. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. This is working. And I'm saying it's not working. We need to try something else. We're 36. We need to try something else. Let's use our brains and our eyes and look and see what other people are doing. Oh, shit.
Yes.
I know this person. He's earning $7,000 a month from this web series.
Oh, yes. I know this person. They just got funding from the Film Commission. They've got no fucking followers. They just wrote a good script.
Who gives a shit? So they get one project. They get one project.
Okay,
great.
cool.
We got I Survived the Zombie Holocaust. It took 5 years.
Okay, I'm looking at this TV
good
series.
For us.
They got funding. It's for a long time. They're all good. They're set for the next year and a half. Okay, how did they do it? Because they pitched an awesome project that they wrote and developed themselves internally.
Completely hypothetical situation.
As is being successful YouTube content creators. That is just as fucking hypothetical.
No, it's not.
Why?
I'm talking about real people I know who are earning thousands of dollars per month.
I'm talking about real people I know earning thousands of dollars.
You're talking about a hypothetical person who got a grant.
No, they got funding.
Okay, so you're talking about a hypothetical person that got funding.
But how's that any more hypothetical?
And you're speculating that they don't create any content online.
No, I'm talking about people I know who don't create content online.
So you know somebody who doesn't create content online who's just received funding for a movie?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, they're all fucking people like that.
And what are they going to do after that project's finished?
Make another one.
Well, like we did after Zombie Holocaust. We got that funding grant, remember?
Yes,
for
but
Zombie Holocaust.
The issue with that is we got...
It's a big successful film. We did really well.
But the issue with that is we got funding to make a $250,000 film, which means that we didn't get funding to us personally live a life of funded individuals. If we get
millions of dollars. Okay.
Well,
cool.
no, I'm talking about just the generic.
Happen. And to be honest, Guy, I think that our having a regular body of work behind us and networking regularly with industry professionals because we're creating content with them regularly, I feel like that is actually a really good strategy to be known to the Film Commission and these other people.
Which could be done on bigger projects as well as YouTube videos.
No, because we don't have bigger projects. We don't. What are you talking about? What bigger projects? Are you talking about the one feature film we do every 5 to 6 years?
Or short films or web series.
Put out, yes, exactly. So we need to put out lots of more content so that those people can see that stuff and they can be working on it, right? So yeah, okay, cool. Let's put out more content.
But this idea comes down to the concept that you're like, how do we solve this problem?
Most mind-boggling thing.
And we go, we solve the problem because we have $10,000 to begin with to do it.
No. I said that was a hypothetical
how do
10,000, right?
cool.
That was a hypothetical 10,000.
Okay.
But you need to understand.
But what's the hypothetical solution?
I'll tell you the real solution. It's not hypothetical. This is what I'm telling you to do. Okay? You need to start saving, start spending more wisely, getting rid of jobs that cost less, that pay less, get jobs that pay more, that type of thing. Get your finances in order so that we don't need a magical $10,000.
Cool.
Your accounts and my accounts are both healthy, and then from there,
Yep.
that's when we can go, okay, cool, we've consolidated. Now, we're being sensible. This is probably how the plan would actually go if we were really, really doing this and becoming a business. We've consolidated. Now what? Now we can start to create this content and start edging our way in and making more of this content and building up that online following. But the first thing to do to get the magical 10,000 is actually just to work smarter now and be more streamlined in everything we do and more professional now, so that we've got that little bit of extra income, and then we use that and build that and grow it.
So the solution is work to save up $10,000.
Yes.
To stop working.
Yes.
To then spend, I don't know, a month or two shooting content, which may or may not generate enough. Well, it won't in that time generate any kind of revenue.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you're speculating. You're going, oh, we're just going to shoot full time for 2 months off $10,000. No, we've got $10,000. We're still freelancing. We're still taking all the good lucrative deals. We're not giving away all our contracts. We're still freelancing. You're just not going to your pleb jobs.
But I don't go to my fucking pleb jobs, Harley. Like this whole
every
thing.
Sunday, Monday, you go to fucking pleb jobs. You're going tonight to a pleb job.
Okay.
You're an overnight security guy.
Yeah, okay. But the reality is, I don't have to do that. I do that to just make a little bit of extra money. I could quit that tomorrow.
And this would be making that extra money.
And I'm doing that more for the safety, because I don't know how much longer my teaching job will last. But the reality is, like, this pleb job, I don't have any fucking pleb jobs. Like, I'm doing one job, I'm maintaining one job for a couple of nights per week, where I do a lot of, my work on my other jobs while I'm there. Because just as a sort of a safety thing, because just as a safety thing. But the reality is, I'm not doing all these fucking pleb jobs you're talking about. Okay. I'm just fucking finishing, and I'm working on Pigville shit.
And you can also say no to other jobs that you want to say no to, because we've got this little bit of extra $10,000 lying around.
But that's just those lucrative freelance jobs.
Which is where we start. Okay, and if you want to, you can turn one down, knowing that you can spend that day creating content and still have enough rent. And that's fine, because we've set aside a shoot that day, and then some freelance job comes up, and you go, okay, no problem. I'll take that money from the $10,000 fund that I've got set aside for exactly this type of shit, and then I'll spend that time, instead of going to this night job or that other job or whatever it is, I'll spend that time creating my own content, which I'll put on the internet, which can potentially earn me a small revenue for the rest of my life if it's out there.
But it also potentially will just be exactly the same.
That it could do nothing. Yeah, right.
In the same way,
but you just
any
see here
project
that
we do could potentially wind up doing nothing.
Exactly, and there's always a gamble, isn't there? I'm not saying there's no risks. I'm saying that we need to assess our future.
It's the same risk.
No, it's not, because one of them is more likely. One of them is more likely to succeed.
So you think it's more likely? See,
I think that having an online following is going to make us more likely to succeed in every way.
But that's based on the assumption
that we can get an online following.
Yes. Like 1 million people are trying every fucking day and not succeeding at.
Yes. Do you know what those people don't have? They don't have you. They don't have me. Right? They don't don't have 20,000 subscribers. They don't have the Sifty 150. They don't have 142 episodes of the Guy and Harley podcast. They don't have a following on Facebook. They don't have all of that shit that we do.
But that's what I'm saying is, actually, a lot of them do have that.
A lot of them do have that. Well, good for them. They're probably the fucking successful ones, aren't they?
And they're not making fucking money. No,
how do you know? These hypothetical people.
Well, you just have to do the maths on your click-throughs and your Google revenues and where all you get your money from.
Yeah. And to figure out who's making how much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, okay.
And so if those people are uploading content like 2 times a week, I follow some of these fucking people.
Yeah.
and they're not. This isn't their full-time job.
Yeah.
But
it wouldn't be our full-time job. We'd still be freelancing.
Okay, so
I'm saying spend less time doing pleb stuff, spend more time creating our own stuff, and then we use that content to generate the money that you would have made in these other places. That is the goal. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be fun. I'm saying it's something that we need to do if we want to have a long-term, successful content creating career.
Well, only if that succeeds.
If it succeeds. And if it doesn't, well, then at least we fucking tried.
Okay.
But to be really honest, to be really, 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 truly honest with you, Guy,
yeah,
I sincerely believe with all of my heart, as I always have, that we will be successful. I think that all we need to do is create enough content. We have got the right formulas, we've got the right launch pads, and I believe in us. I think we can do it. I think that if somebody said to us, here's your job for the next 52 weeks, you've got to create content, I'd be like, shit, this is a big job, son. And you'd be like, damn, boy. And then we'd get into it.
Sure.
And we'd succeed.
But I guess we still have not gotten around this concept of, like, yeah, we do that, but what happens to all the other things?
You still make them. We're still making them. We still set aside the same amount of time. So basically, the plan would be to replace anything you consider pleb work. All pleb work gets replaced with content creation, and then all the older and all that type of thing, it can still get done at the same time, at the same amount of time to get set aside to it. So we don't give it any less time. But hopefully, what we can do is we can figure out a better workflow where it's like, okay, Monday, that's our shoot day. Tuesday, that's our edit day. Wednesday, that's older day. Or that's admin day. That's Pigville day. Whatever. Thursday, that's, whatever. That's whatever, And then so you don't even need to have it that you're doing a little bit of older here and a little bit of IMI there and a little bit of that there. You have some structured something to set it up and go, right, cool. I've got some structure in my life. Monday, 5 p.m. we do the podcast. Tuesday, I'm going to be editing yesterday's skit.
But
whatever.
It's entirely reliant
on us getting our shit sorted and organising.
It's entirely reliant on your freelance work,
that
not interfering with that every single week.
Yes, it is a factor, but we would
it's not a factor.
We would work around it. We would either.
So you go, cool. So Monday I've got a freelance job, not happening. Tuesday I've also got a freelance job, not happening. Okay, Wednesday, cool. So we're at Monday on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 2 days while I'm doing my actual job. So where are we at?
What's your actual job?
Well,
you mean pleb stuff? Because I'm saying we don't have pleb stuff.
Okay, but you can't like.
You're saying that because you'll have occasional freelance stuff that we just throw the baby away with the bathwater.
No, what I'm saying is that if you define teaching as pleb stuff, then okay, that's pleb stuff. But you can't.
Well, anything that you would
give up that much income for no income.
Okay, that's fine. But this is you're concerning yourself with details that we'll sort out later. As far as when exactly how the structure of it, what day we might set aside for what, or whatever workflow we want. At the end of the day, as long as the skit comes out on time or whatever it is that we're doing, then it's fine. It doesn't matter. We can make the workflow work around our own freelance shit. Because I've got lots of freelance shit too. But we'd cross that bridge when we get to it. When we got to it. But the great thing about being freelance is that you can go, no, I'm not keen for that job today. I've decided today I would rather not make that hundreds of dollars. I'd rather do this Pigville shit and take the hundreds of dollars from the Pigville fund that we've saved up.
Right. Okay. Well, I think there's a lot of we'll worry about when we get to it, and I'm worrying about it now.
Yeah, but the first thing you should worry about is the first meeting. We go, okay, cool, here's how we would do it. And then we start solving problems. Like, obviously, there's a million things that could go wrong.
I just think there's a lot of problems that there isn't actually a good solution for in this kind of plan.
I disagree, and I believe that we are very capable of doing it and that we're not setting a precedent here. There's a lot of people who have done similar things. So there are business models we can borrow and we can look at, and being the intelligent people we are, we can
and all those business models are guys working full time, and then in their spare time they commit entirely to this thing. They don't have olders, they don't have big feature films, they don't have the families, they don't have Imi the vegans. They have their content creation every week or 2 weeks, and that's all they do for 1 or 2 years until their thing gets successful, because that is actually the more realistic thing and the time they have.
Bunch of work. Yeah, well, absolutely. It's going to take the first couple of years will require us to be very busy as we set up and create all that content. Yeah. Absolutely. There's no denying that, guy. We're definitely on the same page there, mate. But,
okay, but cool. But like what you're saying is that 52 weeks of skits is more valuable than a couple of web series and a short film.
But that's where you just can't grasp this idea that I'm not saying you sacrifice it. I'm saying that we make it work so that we set aside. So if one skit a week is too much and it's holding back older more than it's currently being held back by your day jobs, then mate, we'll readjust. It's okay. We'll do a skit every 2 weeks. It'll still be really helpful, and I'll do a vlog on every first week, and it'll be okay. We'll iron out the nitty gritty when we get there. It's like this is another silly hypothetical that doesn't really matter.
Is it a hypothetical though, or is it like the actual fundamental problem that I keep coming back to? Because I feel like it's the fundamental problem that I keep coming back to. Because
that you are worried you're not going to have enough time.
No, it's that
you're worried that doing this stuff is going to be too big a job, and you won't be able to do older.
You have to do one or the other.
Right.
You can't do them both.
Okay, and
my point right at the beginning was, if you look at all these fucking content creators, they don't do both either.
I know, and that's the dumbest statement to make.
Well, then prove me wrong!
Google it, motherfucker! Okay, Jesus!
I do, right? I follow these people online.
Google it.
Okay, they're not making feature films.
Google it.
They're not making that stuff.
Google it and find out how many independent feature filmmakers right now are consistently making online content as well. That's what we're talking about.
No, what we're talking about is successful content creators. That's what we're talking about. Not unsuccessful content creators.
So hang on, what's successful? In my mind...
So successful is someone that is making content consistently on YouTube or whatever their format is, and then releasing feature films and maintaining their content. And that's what they do. That's their life. That's what they do full time. Those people aren't
fucking
around.
None of those. There's none of those.
There's lots of people that do just content.
Okay.
There's lots of people that do content leading up to a feature film and then stop doing their YouTube content. There is not people that just keep doing fucking both because it's impossible.
Okay, so obviously that outlandish and ridiculous statement will be Googled by you afterwards, as well as by the 5150, I'm sure.
Cool.
The one that made it through, Kieran, who's still here. I'm sure they'll very quickly post stuff saying, yeah, there's heaps of people actually that are making feature films, like say 1 or 2 feature films a year, who are also creating content at the same time, YouTube content and so on. And in fact, those people, a lot of them will actually be getting an income from that online content creation, which they use to gain funding and so on for the feature films that they're making. It's so scary that you're so out of touch with what the millennials and everyone are doing right now, that you think that social media somehow is just this fad or something that doesn't help. And it's
I didn't say it was a fucking fad. What I said to you, Harley, right at the beginning,
that everybody is using.
You keep
what I'm
talking about
proposing
social
is
media.
like just what everybody is doing.
But it's not what everyone's
doing. And you're saying
doing.
Nobody's doing it, but you've got no examples, and you're like,
no, you've got no examples.
You've got no examples
of people that have done it. Yeah, okay, but I don't have to Google it to tell you there's no examples.
Okay.
Right? Okay, I am a filmmaker. I follow filmmakers online. I follow YouTubers online. I follow content creators online.
And there's none that you've noticed that are making feature films.
No, that's my fucking point. There's one group of guys that I follow on YouTube that have made a feature film that don't make money from their YouTube. They have a very modest following on their YouTube. They've just made their first feature film. That, I'm sure, happens all the fucking time. What I'm talking about is people that make money from their content creation. That's their primary source of income, which is what you're talking about, that then also do features and kind of balance the two. Because what I'm saying is they don't balance. Because you have to, if you're a full-time content creator, you're a full fucking time content creator, not a full-time filmmaker. You can't do them both because those jobs are so time intensive. And that's the problem that we have.
You literally cannot fathom the idea that we would set up our schedule in such a way that we can do whatever we want. If you want to set aside a certain amount of time for older because it's a priority, that's fine.
But
we can do it, and we'll
with
concentrate
content
on
creation,
the creation on the side.
The problem
and
with
we'll
content,
still do our freelance
with
stuff, and it'll all build up.
The problem with content creation and the problem with becoming financially reliable on content creation is it requires constant uploads and updates. If those updates and uploads drop off, your income drops off. Okay? There is no two ways about that.
Yes, there is. Is this website, guy. It's this real fucking new thing. It's called patreon.com. And they pay you every month. Even if
For new content.
Even if you miss a week, though, your rent doesn't go down.
You're right.
Your
but
rent doesn't go down, mate.
If you miss 3
your
weeks
rent money doesn't
or
go
6
down.
months, your Patreon subscribers become less because they're like, I'm not getting, I'm paying for content.
We're not missing 6 months, though. That's the point.
Okay, but you keep saying that as if you can do 14 hours a day fucking filming for a couple of months, and then you go, oh yeah, and we'll just knock some content out on the weekends, all that content that we were creating.
Not. That's literally not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we would continue our freelancing to have money coming in.
Yeah,
right?
but
so a lot of that money is still coming in.
Still haven't explained.
You still set aside, we've got a certain amount of time left. You set aside a certain percentage to work on things like older and so on.
Yep.
But you also set the rest aside to create other content. Now, if we can't do a skit a week, if the workload is too much, then that's okay. We'll do a skit a month if we have to.
Cool. And skit a month.
What we will do is over time, we will build it up and we'll just slowly but surely do less and less freelancing, more and more content creation, get more and more Patreon, more and more this, that, the other thing. And eventually, Guy, we've got all this money coming in and we can create content as and when we want to because we've got money coming in from our merch and from our YouTube and from our Patreon and all of these things. And then this is when we reach filmmaker utopia. And basically we just have, several $1,000s a month coming in. Let's just say it's several $1,000s a month that subsidizes our filmmaking and covers the money you would have earned from these day jobs, right? And that's it. It's just there. And all you're doing is creating content, which is what we want to do anyway. It's what I want to do.
Cool, but we still haven't explained this time versus creation problem. We still haven't solved this issue.
I don't understand why you don't think that you why can't you see that the creative stuff becomes the day job? You get rid of the day job, the creative stuff becomes the day job. And so what you do is you're setting aside a certain amount of hours per week, the same amount of hours that you're currently setting aside to earning a living, right?
But that's
you
the problem
set that aside
then.
To content creation.
But that's still,
and then you subsidize your rent income with the money that we've set aside, and we use this to get the wheel going. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, but it still hasn't explained how you keep the wheel turning.
Well,
that's the issue. The wheel keeps stopping turning all the fucking time.
Yes, there's a gamble there.
It's not a gamble. It's just
there's a gamble there that we're not going to be successful.
No, the gamble.
Of course there is.
No, it's not to do with that. I'm not talking about that. Is just a whole separate other fucking side of the story. But the idea to keep this wheel turning requires weekly updates, not monthly updates.
Oh, see, you're speculating again.
I'm not speculating.
I don't care about weekly or monthly.
Okay,
I'm
don't
talking
care.
About we put out more content and then we make it work.
But you don't.
And we'll work our way up. Maybe we'll do one a month at the beginning. But it becomes one a week later.
But that's the
deal
problem.
with it, man. The details will change. It's okay.
But
we'll work that shit out.
the details are what makes this potentially viable or not.
Yes.
If we want to succeed as content creators, we have to do weekly updates. So you going, no, it doesn't matter if we do weekly updates or not, doesn't actually work. If we release 12 skits a month, it's very likely that our subscription and subscribers and our popularity will stay about the same. Okay? What people respond to is constant creation. I'm not speculating. I'm talking about every successful YouTuber in the history of YouTube. I'm talking about all the successful people you would ever look to and go, how can I replicate their success? Daily updates, weekly updates, 2 times a week. None of them go, hey, I'll just release something once a month. Check it out.
Okay, but why can't you grasp that this is a step? It's a step, guy. If we don't have time, if we don't have time to do it every week, we can do it less, and that's okay. It's still a step in the right direction because remember, this is going to take 2 years, guys.
Cool, but
we'll just keep edging our way towards self-sustainability.
Okay, but if you can't actually take enough steps,
well, why can't we take enough steps?
Because I've just explained the big problem, right? I've just explained the big problem. I keep explaining the big problem to you. You cannot make a film and then be doing your constant updates that keeps your revenue, that keeps your subscribers, that keeps your Patreon, that keeps everything going.
If you're shooting a film, if you're shooting a fucking film, you don't need to do the updates that week, guy. It's okay.
It's not that week.
I'm talking about...
It's that half year.
Oh, so you can't find time in half a year to do a fucking vlog?
If you're working full-time on a feature film... This
podcast is 3 hours of us yelling at each other.
If you're working full-time on a
feature
film,
we
wouldn't be podcasting.
Yes, I know.
Because we wouldn't have time.
Guy, we are creating a feature film, and here we are.
Yeah, but yes.
Here we are.
That's 6 months split over 6 years. That just proves my fucking point.
No, it doesn't.
There's not enough
It's literally
time.
nonsensical.
There is not enough time. That's what I'm saying. Like, you still haven't explained this. You keep saying, kind of reverting back to the concept of like...
You keep concentrating on random little insignificant things.
Okay, well, I don't think having time to make stuff is insignificant. I don't think that the problem of constant updates, which is required for a successful channel... So there's your first problem. Well, yes.
There's your first problem. That you are painting it. Constant updates. It's like, okay...
Yes.
No.
That's how we become... That's how we make your business model successful.
Yes. Yep. But what I'm saying... Okay, we're on the same page there, guy.
Cool.
Regular updates are cool.
Okay.
Every week would be awesome. That's what we're aiming for.
No, that will be required.
That's what... No. What we start with, though, is we need to transition. It can't happen overnight. We need to transition. You still with me?
Yeah.
So we transition. So we create as much content as we can, as we feel that you and I agree we can, and we just gently grow that. It'll take time. We'll do more, and slowly but surely we'll create more content as we generate more income. Okay. But we do need to get started. We've got to get started sometime soon. The first step is to restructure so that we can start working towards that goal, which is what we're doing here. We're working towards a goal of self-sustainability. What's the first thing we do? We need to start. Okay. We need to save some money, and then we need to start creating more content, and then we'll create more and more. And because we're good, it will get successful. I hope. I believe it will.
But
during that time, it will be hard. There'll be all sorts of problems that we'll face. We both know that, all right?
But during that getting started time, all of those problems that are both prohibitive to a successful YouTube channel,
there'll be heaps of problems,
and are completely not just prohibitive, but are preventing the development of bigger projects, are ongoing.
But they're not, because we're talking about you not having to do overnights. You don't have to sleep in all day on a Monday. We're talking about taking the time that you would currently spend on other jobs and spending it instead on creative stuff. And me too. And we're both doing it together. And so it's like, okay, cool. We're going to cut back on our day job stuff. I know this is radical. We're going to cut back on our day job stuff, risk a little bit, and have to create more content. But we'll do it together, and we'll get through it, and then we'll build that. And over time, as it snowballs, eventually we'll be able to say bye to more and more of the day job stuff. But none of this is going to happen if we don't get the ball rolling first.
But couldn't you just take a broad study of YouTube and go, cool, well...
Now I've got to do a broad study of YouTube?
No, just broad study of successful YouTubers, right? Which is what we're trying to be. And go, how often does the person with the least amount of updates update? And I think what you'll find is
okay, but we're not talking about becoming successful overnight. We're talking about 2 years.
I know.
We're talking about building up. And maybe this time next year we're doing one a week. Maybe. You know, who knows? We'll look into it. We'll see what we can make work. Maybe we'll be shooting a feature film at the time, and that's okay. We'll take a break from our online stuff, and we'll say, hey guys, we're really flat out. Harley might give you a vlog or two over the next few weeks, but we're going to be flat out shooting our fucking 5th feature film. So, you know, we'll be back in a few weeks, guys, after the shoot's finished with an update for the podcast listeners. See you then. You know, just like we do now.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that.
That's what we will do.
Or we could just figure out a way to
magically get funding for feature films.
No, we could just figure out a way to get out our bigger projects quicker.
Yep.
And work on the workflow for that instead of making more work.
I actually think that what we will do when creating this business thing is that we will streamline everything. And so this workflow that we set up, which will be writing, shooting, and editing and stuff, that will come in very, very handy for our feature films. And we'll just slot older into rotation. It's like, okay, cool. So we need to set aside a certain amount of time for editing, for whatever, for that, you know. And I've got to take a fee out of the Pigville fund that we've set aside. That's fine. And basically, it streamlines the whole thing. And older or any feature film is just another one of the projects, and we use the same template, we use a lot of the same crews, we use a lot of the same actors or whatever we want, and we've just streamlined it. And I actually think it will be quicker. It will be much quicker than working, you know, whenever you can get some spare time. which doesn't make sense after doing a 12-hour overnight shift. None of it makes sense. We got to streamline.
But you keep saying 12 hours, like you're kind of going back to a problem that no longer exists, or it doesn't exist currently, which is the idea that I've got a bunch of these pleb jobs, and so
the problem is that you don't have time.
But yes, but
that's the problem. And so when I look at the problem, I see, well, where is he spending his time? That where that is not productive. And it's like, okay, well, work is obviously one of them, right?
Yes, work is one of them.
So what can we do? Well, what we can do is we can save up a bit of money and we can try and get an online income coming in to subsidize Guy's income so that Guy doesn't have to go to work so often, so that Guy can chase his dreams and create content.
But then the problem
I can ride on his coattails.
But the problem then becomes, okay, like to put that in place, then Guy shifts his time to doing the content creation as opposed to the bigger projects.
No.
But that's all the time there is. There's not extra time, Harley.
There's extra time when you don't have to go to work, guys.
Yes, that's right. But that is not what happens in the first 12 months to 2 years of this process.
Right, but what I'm saying... But what I'm saying is that... What I'm saying, Guy, is that we don't jump in straight away because we simply can't afford it. We both know that, right? But we can iron out these details. We can brainstorm. But what we would do is we'd start gently, starting to focus more on getting more content out. And we work our way towards it. So I'm not saying we go 2 years, balls deep. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying we make some small changes day to day right now and then work our business model towards creating more content and making money out of it. And it doesn't have to be this big stressful thing where we're doing it straight away right now. All it means is that you don't go to work on Mondays and we shoot a skit on Mondays. You don't go to work on Sundays. You don't go to work on Monday and we edit a skit on Monday. And that's it. That's it. And then we use the Pigville money to subsidize your income and pay for that work, that money that you would have got.
Okay. But
you're like a Republican in the southern states, like arguing against healthcare for yourself.
No, but Harley, you're just greatly under. Okay, cool. We just write it. Cool. So we've got to write that skit.
Yeah.
And we've got a plan.
Yes, Guy, there'll be a bunch
and then we've
of
got
work.
And that bunch of work in this time that we're just baby steps, gently, can't stop anything, is then gonna be time that we're not developing or creating any bigger projects.
No,
because that's the only time there is.
Yes.
You keep saying, well, where's this more time? There's no more time because there's no more money. Baby steps to begin with. So judging by all of that,
but what? There is more money. There is more fucking money. This is the bit you don't get. It comes from you streamlining your finances. It comes from you getting your finances sorted, and then we do have more money between us. And then we can start saving for this $10,000. But part of the problem is you're working all the time. And you're not spending smartly. And these things are slowing down the process. But what we need to do is we need to turn your finances towards saving for more, paying off your debts and so on, so that we've got more time, you don't need to work as much, and then we can save some money and we can spend that money creating Pigville. And it's going to take a long time. I get that. But it's like we either start or we don't. So we need to start because we're way, way, way behind schedule. And we're still creating content. We're not taking away any time from older or anything like that. When we have enough money, that is when we start taking away the day job stuff and replacing it with content creation stuff. So it's not starting now, this very second.
I still feel like a lot of the issues that I've raised, fundamental issues that I've raised,
are things that
you've glossed over.
No, that you and I would sit down at a proper meeting and go, all right, how are we going to do this? What about this problem? How do we make that work? Okay, what about this plan? But if you want to do it, then we will find a way to do it. But if you don't want to do it and you'd rather keep whacking away in the bushes at your day job, then it's never going to happen.
It wouldn't be that I'd rather keep whacking away, because I'm going to keep whacking away at my day job regardless to begin with, as you've just said, as we've just established.
It's going to take time to get set up.
So I'll be whacking away either way.
Yeah.
So therefore, my time is then...
Your options are to whack away in order to create a sustainable thing that we can make this work for us and mean that we can make movies together. That's what you're doing now. At the moment, you're whacking away to create Older. Okay, what you need to be doing is you need to or anything you're creating right now.
Okay, but that's a lot of things.
Yes, and you're whacking away in the bushes to get enough money to spend enough time to work on these things to hopefully finally get them out. And what I'm saying is, instead, you
stop all that.
No, you don't stop any of it. You keep doing it, but you just perhaps allow me to help you with your finances as an advisor of some description, and then we can get you on track, and then your money can be working towards allowing you to be a filmmaker, because you're now concentrating on a goal, which is the imagining of Pigville as a business entity and restructuring of what we do so that we can create content full time, which was always the plan.
Sure.
And get rid of the day job. So I'm aiming for a utopia, absolutely. But I think it's an attainable utopia, but we need to work together and we need to get started.
Okay. But yes, this business plan conceptually still does not, kind of avoid this issue that fundamentally, as we're getting started and there's no extra money.
It will be hard.
Yeah, you keep saying it'll be hard, but what it'll actually mean...
But what you're saying, guys, that it'll be hard, so let's not try. It's too difficult, so let's not try.
No, what I'm saying is, yes, it'll be hard, but also, actually, we're going to stop doing these big projects in this intermediate hard time, which is the problem.
How many... Do you need to listen to this? You need to go back and listen to this. How many times do I need to tell you? When we're getting started, we can just start slow. And we're not taking away any filmmaking time. We're just taking away day job time and subsidizing it with the savings that we've got. With the money we've found, we subsidize it. So you take away from your day job shit, and that is where you insert the creative stuff. But Older, you're not saying we're not shooting features. You're not saying we're not still working on Emmy the Vegan. You're not saying we're not doing that stuff. You still concentrate the same amount of time towards that. But as a first step, what do? We start... taking away the day job and filling it with the creative stuff with the intention of making money from it, and any income lost gets subsidized from this Pigville fund, which is something that I'm going halves in, right? So it's an even better deal for you, because a lot of that money is going to go towards making it that you've got spare time. It'll be like Operation Semi-Pro. This will be Operation Full Pro. The idea is that I'm giving you money and subsidizing your living as my business expenses in order that you have more time to create content. That's what I'm fighting for. And I can't believe that you're putting up all of these barriers in the way of these kind of things, which I think are, yes, there are issues and we'll have to work through them. But ultimately, that is a sustainable business path, potentially, or a lot more than what we're currently doing, which is not working, because we can't spend 6 years per movie. We just can't. We can't.
I agree that we can't spend 6 years per movie.
So let's try a different strategy. Let's try a strategy where we create content more often, and we work with professionals all the time, and we streamline our workflow, and we monetize everything we possibly can, and slowly but surely we weed out the day job stuff, replace it with the creative stuff, and now all we're doing is creating content for a living online and making our movies as well. And now that we've got an audience from online, we can send them to it. We release a trailer, we've got millions of followers. You know, that is a sustainable business model for entertainers and content creators. Do you want to be working in 5 years from now? Do you want to still be working, or are you just hoping that someone will come along and give us some big funding because Older will get seen by somebody and that will lead to the next job, and it'll be a huge job that somehow makes everything go away?
I think it's...
is there a plan?
Yeah, of course. I think it's by steps, it's by degrees. It's it's not necessarily Older. It's a slow accumulation of good work. Yeah. So that's
but why not a faster accumulation?
With feature films, and it's building up a body of work, and then it is progressing from,
I want to build up a body of work as well.
Web series.
So for instance, right now, we haven't veered from the path yet. We're on the same path right now.
So for instance, we shot a web series, so maybe we get funding for the second season of that web series. Yep. That would be the next step. And then from that second season of funding of the web series, then maybe we get funding for a TV series.
Okay.
So that would be the logical progression.
Yeah.
That would be the slow progression.
No, that's not slow. That's the normal progression. That's
the normal progression.
That's what we're trying to do.
Same with features. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Older at this stage. Maybe not looking too promising for Older, but whatever that feature is, that then leads to something bigger.
But you're talking about 6 years from now, because we've got to write it, get the funding for it, shoot it, and then do
Sure.
the post-production. So you're talking about the idea of shooting a film in 6 years. I'm not suggesting that we don't shoot a film in 6 years. We can shoot it, or in however long, like we can still be shooting that third feature film. I'm not, you gotta make it very clear that the content creation doesn't stop us from making any feature films.
Okay, and I
we
guess
still do that.
Sure, but I think that's where we fundamentally disagree on, is that the time it takes to do these things is prohibitive, very, very prohibitive.
Well, not by the time we're ready to shoot it as well. We'll have a smooth workflow by then.
Yeah.
We could have it that we're filming 2 days a week and editing 2 days a week and got 3 days a week to do whatever. That can happen. That can be our future. But only if we work towards it. But look, as fun as this conversation has been,
got to go.
I do feel like we need to wrap it up.
Well, I've got to wrap it up because I should have been somewhere 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, that was good. I do feel like we I have been wanting to talk to you about all that sort of stuff.
Cool.
So it's good that it came out on the podcast.
Well, look,
but I have been. My intentions are pure, and what I want is the best for us. I want us to create stuff together.
No one's questioning your intentions. No one's suggesting that...
You're just saying you don't think it's realistic.
I'm saying that there's some inherent problems both in the sort of constant content creation world and in that sort of startup world that is going to compromise some of the bigger projects that we are working on.
Right.
And I'm not really talking
and
about... And I'm not talking about older, in fact, at all. I'm more thinking about some of the other things.
Yeah.
And that there is an issue for content creators where you really do. You look at them. There's content creators, and then there's people that make movies. And I know you think that there's like a crossover. And
I know there is.
There's some crossover, but actually there's...
So there is a business model. There is a precedent.
Oh, well, no. What the crossover normally is, though, is build up, do a feature, maybe not go back to that constant content creation and just focus on bigger jobs.
But if they don't get another thing,
and then if they
feature,
don't, I presume
then they go back to the YouTube content creation.
Presumably,
build up.
But
until
I also
the next one, right?
I don't know any of those people.
Well, that's us because we had build up. Then we got I Survived the Zombie Holocaust. Then we didn't get a big thing next, but we just continued creating content, build up. But then we stopped creating content after around like the Guy and Harley show and all those times. And then that's where we kind of dropped off a little. But I can't remember where I was going with that. But we've done it all anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's my issue is some of that stuff. I just think that it is a lot harder than the way you're presenting it to maintain them both.
But yes, and my final retort on that is that I'm not denying that it's going to be a lot of work and that there's a lot of hurdles. I'm saying that I really sincerely believe that you and I can get through those and figure that stuff out. I really legitimately believe that, and I believe the only thing holding us back is our lack of will to do these things, is to actually to change the business model and build that online income. But ultimately, I think that once it is set up, it will leave us in a much better situation because we will have a passive income every month, and we will have a group of followers, which is only going to grow, which we can then send towards our feature films, which will make those feature films grow. And now along the way, of course, there's going to be some sacrifices made financially, time-wise, all that stuff. That's the hustle. That's the grind. It's always going to be a hustle and a grind. But I think that we can do it. And I think that we need to do it if we want to succeed. Otherwise, we're not going to make it because we haven't made it. And if older just comes out and nothing happens, then we're really back to, square one. And we would have been better off to have been making a video every fortnight or every month for the last 5 or 6 years. We would have more followers. We would have more everything. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But that would only be judging by the concept that older was the only thing we've done in the last 6 years.
No, because we'd also still have done those things. We would. I mean, the reason why we shot No Caller ID, arguably one of your most successful projects, No Caller ID, the reason why we shot it was because I launched Operation Semi-Pro. We shot that during Operation Semi-Pro. That was the That was when that happened. That was one of our increases in our output. That and not wanking, and some stuff for older. It's a prime example of creating the content you want to create and doing Operation Go Pro, full pro.
Well, let's let the listeners weigh in.
Well, the listeners are gone, mate. The listeners are long gone on this one. This is the new great debate.
Yeah.
But
no,
more civil.
There'll be a few. So they'll be turning it over in their minds.
Mate, they'll be thinking you are fucking special. That's what they'll be thinking.
Cool.
If you can't grasp this.
Well, let them tell me that.
All
I'd
right,
love
guys.
to hear your opinions.
All right, yeah, we really do need to go. My name's Harley Neville. Thank you so much for tuning into this 2-hour rant. Make sure you go to facebook.com/GuyandHarley. If you'd like to make it so that we have a fucking passive income, so that Guy doesn't have to work so much, so that we can create more content for you guys, this concept he can't grasp, please go to patreon.com/Pigville. You can give us $1 a month or $2 a month or however much you want, and that can all go towards eventually creating all this content. And go to iTunes and all that stuff and give us a 5-star review. We would definitely really appreciate that. Hit share, hit like, all that stuff. That all really helps. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.
See you later.